A middle-aged man named Lemuel Gulliver wakes up in his messy New York apartment and goes on with his morning routine. He talks to his superhero toys on a shelf and dances in the shower, showing us his goofy side. Gulliver works in the mailroom of a New York newspaper company. That day, he meets a new employee named Dan and befriends him. Gulliver is Dan's boss in the mailing department. As the two deliver their mail for the day, they come across Gulliver's longtime crush and a journalist named Darcy Silverman. He has been in love with her for years but has never confessed. Later that day, Dan brings out a notice that says he has been promoted to head of the mail department on his first day. Gulliver has been working in the facility for 10 years, but no one respects him. Dan claims that Gulliver is scared to talk and will never progress in life other than his mailroom job. A distressed Gulliver is walking out of the office and notices Darcy working late. He gathers up courage and goes to her cabin to ask her out. However, his nerves get the best of him, so instead, he picks up a random paper from her desk and heads out. Darcy asks him if he wants to apply for a travel writing assignment. A nervous Gulliver agrees and has to submit a travel blog. At home, he copies and pastes several articles from the internet for the blog. The following day at work, he submits it to Darcy, who is impressed by his writing skills and provides him with a new task. She wants him to travel to the Bermuda Triangle and write an article about the legends of ships mysteriously disappearing there. To impress her, Gulliver agrees. Sent to explore strange happenings around the Bermuda Triangle, Gulliver's boat is hit by a huge storm and swept up into a giant inverted whirlpool, before he is knocked unconscious. When he awakens, he finds himself on the island of Lilliput, tied to the ground and surrounded by angry little men a tenth of his size. He has been captured by General Edward. He is pinned to the ground with tiny ropes and wood. Commander Edward calls Gulliver a beast. A confused Gulliver yells in fear and breaks free from the ropes easily. Thinking that this is a dream, he tries closing his eyes. Edward orders his soldiers to bring the beast down. The soldiers attach their hooks to Gulliver's pants and make him fall unconscious. Gulliver then paraded through the streets of Lilliput to be brought before the royal family, King Theodore, Queen Isabel, and Princess Mary. Gulliver is kept in chains in the island dungeon by the sea, where he meets and relates to another prisoner, Horatio, jailed for unlawful courting of Princess Mary, and previously the tallest man on the island by a few millimeters. The two are approached by Edward again, who listens to them, referring to him as lame ass. When an angry Edward threatens to imprison them for life, Gulliver claims lame ass means someone who is brave. Soon Gulliver is put to work plowing the fields, but the warning bells sound a signal of Blefuscian attack, in which they try to kidnap the princess and burn the palace. Brave and selfish, General Edward is off to save the day, but Horatio knows he cannot reach the princess in time and begs Gulliver to help. Horatio breaks his large friend free from his chains, and together they are off. First, Gulliver drops the enemy spies into the village pond, before he does the only thing he can think to put out the flames in the palace and save the king, to take quite a big leak. It works, the flames are doused, everyone claps for him when he stops the fire and saves King Theodore. The Lilliputians throw a huge feast for their protector, and start work on Gulliver's dream house by the sea. Life is pretty sweet for Gulliver, and the islanders are amazed at the stories about his life, all scenes from famous movies. Later, Horatio asks Gulliver to help him impress Princess Mary, and Gulliver agrees. The two go to the palace, and Horatio approaches the princess. A hidden Gulliver recites the lyrics of the song Kiss, making Horatio repeat it. By the end of it, the princess starts to fall for Horatio, but she is called by Edward, who has come to court her. The two have been destined to get married, as Edward is the bravest of the kingdom. Somewhere else, the search party finds the washed-up boat with cans of Coke. Gulliver comes to the scene and finds his phone is still working. He has 12 voice messages from Darcy. Turns out she is furious to have found out about Gulliver's plagiarized article. She has to now sail on the same trail Gulliver came through to do the Bermuda Triangle research herself. Gulliver now doesn't want to go back to New York and face her, so he decides to stay in Lilliput permanently. This is the final straw for Edward, who is asked to take a break by the king, allowing Gulliver to be promoted to the new general. Hoping to regain his position, Edward sabotages the island defenses. The Blefuscian launch a huge cannonball attack, and then their Armada approaches. Gulliver is summoned. He wades out into the sea, hoping to strike a truce with the enemy. The Blefuscians instead attack, yet Gulliver's gut absorbs all the cannon fire, and then, like an elastic band, fires the metal back at the ships. Gulliver picks up the guide ropes and hauls the armada away, further strengthening his bond with the little people of Lilliput. General Edward skulks off to the enemy with plans from Gulliver's salvaged booty, a page on how to build your own robot. Edward returns to Lilliput to challenge Gulliver to a duel inside a 6-feet-tall robot. He gives Gulliver a giant wedgie as he tries to run away, and shows Gulliver's true colors. Gulliver is banished to the island they don't talk about, tied to a huge raft, while the Blefuscians take control of Lilliput, and the king and queen are locked in the dungeon. Meanwhile, Darcy has had to take the riding assignment, and is caught up in the same storm and shipwrecked on the island of Lilliput. She is captured by General Edward. Horatio escapes to find Gulliver and travels to the Forbidden Island. Gulliver awakes on the island they don't talk about, to find himself outside a giant house. He is snatched up by a little, but very tall, girl and forced to accept a new life as a doll inside a giant doll's house. That night, Horatio finds Gulliver and encourages his friend to break free. Using the parachute from a dead pilot, they jump from the house and float away back to Lilliput. Gulliver finds Darcy chained up in the dungeons. He comes clean about his background and his feelings for Darcy. Full of courage now, he breaks everyone free and goes to challenge General Edward in a winner-takes-all rematch. Edward in the giant robot is ready with a new secret weapon, electricity. They didn't seem to have electricity until Gulliver came along. Gulliver is losing badly. Horatio bravely grabs a horse, breaks his way into the robot, and turns off the power to the mighty weapon. It's a fair fight. Gulliver beats the robot on the head a few times, and then gives him a robot wedgie, sending him back to sleep mode. The Lilliput king and Blefuscian leader square up to fight again, so Gulliver asks, "War, what is it good for?" They join in with his song, and everyone is at peace again. General Edward captures the princess, but she beats him off. Back in New York, Gulliver is now a travel writer, enjoying more time with Darcy, with published articles about his travels framed on the wall. Dan, from the mailroom, enters the office with a new mailroom attendant, and is firmly put in his place. As it ends, we see glimpses of Gulliver's articles against the original Jonathan Swift novel content. So, which movie recap do you guys want us to create next? Let us know in the comments section down below. That's all for this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification for more amazing content. Thanks for watching.